Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Greenfield City Council October. I'm delighted to have a smaller audience tonight for a moment.
Can you all hear me?
We can, Councilor Bullock.
I just turned the video on.
I could hear you online.
Can you all hear us?
Do you hear the John Zahn online?
I don't.
Uh-oh.
Me neither.
Should be good now. You should be able to hear us now.
Oh yeah, we hear you.
All right.
All right, there's always a little something, isn't there? So thank you all for being here. Just as a reminder that this meeting is being recorded by the City Council and GCTV. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson, and I know that Anthony is recording. And it looks like nobody else. All righty. So I'm just flipping pages, and we're going to start with a roll call, and we have two folks online, so we're going to have to do it as an actual roll call.
Three, I think, online. Okay. Counselor Golub?
Here.
Counselor Gordon?
Here.
Counselor Master-Totaro?
Here.
Counselor Bottomley?
Here.
Counselor Bullock?
Here.
Counselor Williams?
Here?
Counselor Perry? Here. Counselor Healy?
Here.
Counselor Brown?
Here.
Vice President Garrett?
I am here.
Counselor Minhas?
Here. Oh my God. Here. Sorry.
Counselor Toronto?
Here.
President Wondolowski?
Here.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
All right, great. So next is the Pledge of Allegiance, and all stand who wish to. All right, our first regular order of business is approval of the minutes for August 20th and September 30th City Council meetings. I'll take a motion for that.
So moved. Second?
I think that was Councilor Toronto and Councilor Bottomley. All right, and now we're going to have to roll call approval. Thank you.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Master-Totaro?
Yes.
Counselor Bottomley?
Yes.
Counselor Bullock?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Perry?
Yes.
Counselor Healy?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yes.
Counselor Toronto?
Yep.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Great. And just a reminder, anybody who wants to be in public comment, we have a sign-in sheet as you come in. You get 3 minutes, and you have to state your name and approximately where you live, either street address or at least Greenfield. And if you're online and want to be part of public comment, you just have to put in the chat your name. We can't see your hand if you raise it. So just as a reminder, we'll get to that portion in a minute. So first item of business is the communications from the Superintendent of Schools and School Committee. And I know the superintendent is unable to be here tonight, so we have Vice President Sexton.
This to me. There we go. All right. Howdy, how's it going? I'm here mostly to give an update about the superintendent search. which is a very important process and one of the sort of key charges for us as a school committee and something that impacts our entire community. So I really want to make sure that folks are aware that it is happening and ways that you can get involved and add your voice and your input into shaping the type of candidate that we get and the kinds of priorities that we're communicating to that candidate once they get here for what we want to see.
Point of order, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Put the mic a little closer because you
How's
speak
this?
very quietly, and that's
Sorry,
okay.
no.
Unlike me, all right.
No, I understand that I do sometimes have a soft-spoken voice, so I appreciate I want to make sure you can hear me. So, yes, mostly just saying that superintendent search is very important. Want to make sure that you all know ways that you can add your voice because we're not just communicating the type of candidate that we want, but the kinds of priorities we have as a community for where our schools are going and the type of leader we think that we can help address those priorities. So, we've really officially started in earnest. We are contracting with NESDEC, who also did our building study to support us as we go through this process. They're going to be really supporting us doing a community needs assessment over the coming weeks. This will look like focus groups with 5 different community entities. A lot of them are school constituencies, so students, teachers, parents, et cetera. There will be a general community member focus group that will be had. There'll also be an online survey that will go out. This information will be used to compile then a candidate profile, which will inform how we are sort of rating, for lack of a better word, or how we are analyzing the candidates that we receive from the job posting against what our community is saying is important to them, the kind of leader that they're looking for, and the kind of priorities they have moving forward. As for the search itself and who will be actually looking at candidate profiles, there is a small, what we're calling a steering committee that I'm leading that are 3 representatives from the school committee itself. So that's myself, Mayor DeSorger, and member Ann Childs. And we'll be doing a lot of the logistics. We're going to be getting rooms. We're going to be making sure that times are displayed. We're going to be the ones getting out all of the press releases and invitations to participate. But we'll also have a search committee, and this will be made up of different members. The exact makeup will actually be being decided at a special school committee meeting this Friday morning at 8 a.m. for those who would like to join on Zoom. This is a continuation of our last meeting last week where we handled most of these details, but there were a few things about the search that we wanted to spend a little more time on. But that search committee will actually be responsible for looking at different candidate information. They will be looking at applications, references, resumes. They'll be conducting first-round interviews, and an invitation to participate in that search committee, because this will be broader than just school committee members, will be going out very shortly. As soon as we nail down exactly the sort of makeup of it that we're looking for, then we can advertise and get specific individuals who would like or who have some interest in being part of that. So look out for that as an opportunity. We have a general timeline for this whole search that will end us up in February with an actual candidate ideally getting an offer letter from us. And so between now and then, we'll do first and second round interviews. We'll have them here. There will be opportunities for everyone to interact and meet the candidates. We'll be advertising those as broadly as we can because we want this to be an incredibly participatory sort of thing. We want folks there adding their voice. And as part of that, there are additional opportunities for public input that I wanted to make sure were highlighted to you. So I talked about these community forums. The exact timing, like the exact date and day and where, et cetera, are still being worked out, but it's looking like it's going to be in the last week of this month that we're going to be trying to have those focus groups. Additionally, though this is not co-sponsored by the school committee, I've heard of another forum that's happening over Zoom on October 22nd, specifically to talk about graduation readiness and what we think education is for. And then another late addition for public input into education generally that I've heard is on November 6th. I think Joe Comerford has been organizing a public comment session related to local contribution of Chapter 70 funds. So those were other opportunities, not necessarily directly related to the superintendent search, but again, opportunities for us to talk about what we want to see in education, what our challenges are that the state is responsible for, what the challenges are that we are responsible for. And with that, I think I would take any questions.
Thank you, counselors. Any questions? Counselor Garrett?
Just to say thank you for the work that's clearly going into the superintendent search. It's obviously very important for the city, as you are no doubt aware. So I appreciate what you and the steering committee are doing and what the hiring committee will be doing in the future.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. I have two questions. One is, are interim interested in permanent, or are they an interim-only person?
At this point, I believe that our interim is only available as an interim due to the number of waivers and being in retirement. There's some sort of complexity there. So I don't think that Mr. Doyle is actually eligible. And it has not been a feature of the conversations that we've been having. I really think we're looking for a totally new candidate.
Great, okay. And the other is out of the blue, but I think as I was driving in this morning, I heard a story about a study that the school committee has approved, looking at the special education, transportation, and just if you want to expand a little bit on that. I know we've talked about that here in the council, so I think my counselors are interested in that.
Sure, yeah, thank you for that question. At last week's meeting, we did vote to approve the expenditure that would do a study of our special education transportation, specifically, I think, to get a sense of, if we fully contracted all of it out as opposed to running any part of it in-house, what would that like? Is that more efficient, less efficient, more cost-effective, less cost-effective? This was the process for bidding out this study started actually under our prior superintendent, former superintendent Pat Node, kind of as a response to some of the inquiries that we received during the course of the budget season. So we're trying our best to be responsive to getting the information we know that counselors and ourselves are interested in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Great.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate having schools here and getting updates from you all, so thank you. Great, so I'd like to invite the mayor up and to hear from City Hall. Mayor, I feel like we need walk-up music for you, because we're sitting there waiting, like, what's your walk-up song?
Okay, there you go. All right, so I'm going to start with an update on the transfer station. So after last month, we had the DEP out on the Friday after the Wednesday of the meeting, and they're requiring some adjustments to how we operate in order to address the rodent infestation. We need to make sure that every piece of trash and recycling is removed from the floor at the end of every day. Additionally, we need to hose down the floor at the end of every day. Last month, we shifted hours at the end of the transfer station so that we can get this done, and we have been doing that, and ensure that our staff gets out on time. We also removed the baler from inside the transfer station, mowed the bowl, and cleaned out the rat's nest under the staff lockers. I want to give a special shout out to the central maintenance for doing that nasty job. Thanks to all of these changes, the rat population is decreasing. DEP is coming out weekly, and we are complying with whatever they are telling us. So for now, we need to keep our hours, and as they continue to work on the problem. We will be looking for a different break room for the employees under capital expenditures, and more attention to that facility may be needed. That may mean more in the line of capital expenditures there. Also in the DPW line, Ty and Bond is beginning a survey on our water and sewer systems. Once we have a full analysis and that's complete, DPW and our grant writer will go ahead and apply for state revolving fund money to address the inflow and infiltration that we've been working on. The delegation has encouraged us to think big for this project. They believe that there may be money out there for us to complete this, because people understand that anything that happens here affects everything to the south of us. Greenfield Business Association. The agenda made it sound like this was an event that was coming up. But, oh no, that's okay. But that actually happened. We had a fabulous gathering at the library with many business owners and community members. We did discuss the Hope Street project and downtown development in general. I'd like to give a big shout out to Hannah from the GBA and the library staff for hosting us. Also on October 29th, there'll be another Hope Street conversation hosted by the League of Women Voters, and that will be broadcast on GCTV. And that's all I have for now, unless you have any other questions.
Thank you, Mayor, councilors. Thank you for taking the rat nest from under people's lockers. That seems so common sense, so thank you. That's truly disgusting. Vice President Garrett.
So I have a question on two of these items. The first one is about the engineering survey. I know for the 2 years I've been on council, we've been spending a bunch of money on I&I. And is this survey going to survey the rest of the system, or is it it is, okay. So that was my kind of first question. That's good news. And then my second question is regarding, the Hope Street lot and the question of revenue from that lot if it was reopened to parking. So there's a number floating around in the newspaper. I just saw it in another editorial today. I know it's in the fever swamps of Facebook, kind of roaming around, convincing people that it's real. But this $200,000 number on revenue is something that I frankly think is a keystone of the S side, and I would love to, just to be blatant, I would love you to take a rhetorical hammer to it. And so if you could tell us why it is not going to be $200,000 a year if that parking lot is reopened, that would be very helpful.
Okay, so I can't predict the future of what anything could be, but I did go down to the treasurer's office today. We used to make a lot more on parking because we used to charge for parking on Saturdays, I will tell you that. And I will tell you that we have had 4 public records requests for parking, and which we, of course, will get to. But I just did 2 today. I did the past 2 years for parking revenue. So parking revenue for fiscal year '24, the total parking revenue for fiscal '24 was $355,491. That's total parking revenue, $80,000 of which was for the parking passes. That's not, so in fiscal year '25 was $322,604, 80,000 of which is for the parking passes. So roughly for parking meters, it's $250,000 a year. So personally, I don't see how that is possible. That includes the garage. Well, yes, and that includes the garage. So keep in mind that you would just be moving people from one place to another. Unless we had a whole lot more people that were coming here, I don't see how that would be humanly possible. It's the same number of people that are parking one place or another. So the total revenue for parking annually for meters is $250,000. You have the same number of people. The way that we would make more for parking is if we had more people that are coming to things here in town. The way that you get more people here in town is if we have more development, more commercial, more housing.
Thank you much.
I have Counselor Perry. And
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 questions, one at a time. Regarding the Home Street lot, will the RFP only include housing options?
No, the RFP, and I think that we said that, the RFP that we had, and we had a draft of it when it first came out, when you were voting on it, it was for commercial on the bottom floor and housing on the upper floors. If the developer, you put it out like this and then you see what developers come in with, they could choose to do that or not. So you put it out and you see what developers come in with. So that's what the options were.
Okay, thank you. And will the RFP be asking for market rate housing?
That was what, it suggested market rate housing, yes.
Okay.
It was, it could be market rate housing and it could be mixed income housing. So they might need to have a few affordable units in it. I would like more market rate housing. That's my hope, that it would be more market rate housing. It may be some mixed rate housing as well, but we need housing of all types.
Right. I think people were just confused and concerned about the differences, and so I was asked to ask that question specifically. And the last one, if by act of God some miracle happens and the yes vote passes, would you consider using revenue bonds to cover repair to the parking lot?
Revenue bonds.
Yeah. That's been floated around in the same Ethan system that John's talking about. The theory is revenue bonds don't cost the city anything. That maybe Mike Toronto can explain it a little bit better, but revenue bonds don't cost the city taxpayer. And so people are asking if yes happened and the decision was made to possibly go back to parking, could revenue bonds be used?
I guess I would say this, Councilor Perry, with the things that we need in the city, I'd be hard pressed to be thinking about building a parking lot 115 steps next to a parking lot. That would be very difficult for me to think about. Being the mayor of a city is very difficult. I have to think about what this city actually needs for the future. And I can't envision that we need a parking lot next to a parking lot. We have a parking lot that I worked very hard to brighten up, to clean up, that during business hours has 120 vacant spots from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So to be building and spending money to, even if it were free, to bring a parking lot next to a parking lot isn't exactly what makes sense to me. So I'm not going to commit to that today. No.
Okay, thank you very much.
I've got Counselor Minhas, then I'm going to go to Counselor Bullock, and we've got Toronto and Golub. So just want to make sure you all.
So I think much of this conversation could be clarified if the city could just come out with some specific numbers, right? So in order to get to that, you might not have the numbers currently right now, but just to kind of clarify, the parking lot, the Hope Street lot, and the garage have at some point in time both been operational at the same time, right? Now, that garage was built after the existence of that lot, right? And why can't we just get a number? And I'm not saying that this would help one side or the other. I think it would just generally inform the public. Can't we get a number which just says, hey, before it was used as a temporary fire station, what was the revenue specifically generated from this location? There might not be like a slot that you can just go to a chart sheet and say, oh, whoop, here we go. But if we could get that as a public, I think that would quash a lot of people's concerns. Regardless of how I'm voting, I've explained before, I know I would like to see development, but we have concerns about what revenue that has created in the past versus what it could potentially create in the long term. So is there a way that the city could just be like, okay, this is what it used to generate when it was operational, and if today it were to be operational, how much revenue it would create? And also, what would be the cost to, like, basically just three numbers, like, and what would be the cost to repair it, to get it, to generate that revenue? I think that would help, like, a lot of people.
So I'm actually really, really, really glad that you asked that question, because I don't get on Facebook, but I'm hearing about it. I've looked at it a little bit, and I hear it's kind of ugly out there, and there's an awful lot of talk about what could come, one thing or another. And there's a talk about exactly what would be from this and what would be from that. So I'm going to tell you, in 2015, we switched operating systems as far as revenue goes. So there's nothing at all that you can get pre-2015 for the numbers from anything. And I will tell you, we don't break out from parking lot from one. I looked because I thought, I'm going to come in here tonight and people are going to say, what is it that you can get from this one as opposed to that one? I would love to tell you what we get from the parking lot, from the Hope Street, from the parking garage, what we get from Main Street. If I knew that, I would not keep that from you, because I just wouldn't. It's just not me. It's not there. It's account 1606. We did it, didn't we, just before we came here? It's all right there. We went back as far as it would come. I was down with the treasurer today, and it does not break it down by where it's located. We can find out, you can look at the papers. I'll send them to you, and we'll be answering the public records requests. You can see big chunks where it says, we've got when people buy parking passes, that has like a different code in it. But it doesn't say where they, it's not broken down by where they parked. It may have had that a few years ago, but it certainly doesn't for the past 4 years, so I do not have that information. But I think I can tell by hearing the flavor of it that people would want to know that. Like, what was the most used parking lot of ever? I know from being on planning board, that the most traveled part of the city is from Federal Street up, from Federal Street up. You're right, where the YMCA, the post office, et cetera, we all knew that. Everybody knows that, we talked about that a lot as far as parking studies. It's very true. There's more people that were pulling in and out of the YMCA, the library, et cetera, et cetera. As a matter of fact, when the library was being put in, I remember going to meetings and advocating more for it going down to where the fire station is now, so that we were spreading out traffic. I remember doing that because of things that I'd gone to with, traffic patterns. So we knew where people were traveling more because they did studies about that. So, go ahead.
This might be slightly off topic.
Okay.
Just slightly, but it is still in the parking. I have had some constituents reach out and say, does the city have a plan in place right now currently to switch the parking on Main Street from, I don't know what's the legal term or whatever for, diagonally to parallel parking? Is that something that's like in the works for the city right now?
Yes, yes, there is a plan for that. And I asked about that today as well. And when I first got into office, that was the very first meeting that I went to. It was with the GBA. And I thought, boy, if you ever want to be at something where you're afraid that people are going to throw things at you, go to a meeting where you're talking about parking and changing it. It was like, oh my word. It was a business association meeting, and we were talking about that, and I thought, am I actually going to come out of here alive? And I did. I kept smiling and being polite, and I said, yep, it's going to change, because we're going to change the configuration of Main Street. I didn't think of this plan, and it's Mass DOT, and they won't give us the money unless we do this, their way with the complete streets is a new way of doing things, a walkable community with the bike paths, and it's, the acceptable way with Mass DOT. And yes, we'll be changing that. I say things kiddingly. I hope I'm not alive when that happens. I say that, just kidding. My children would hate me for saying that, but I thought, oh boy. I mean, this has been enough right now. But oh man, So yes, indeed, we are. And I'm going to tell you quite truthfully, Councilor Minhas, there's going to be less spaces. Yep. Yep, there's going to be less. And at those meetings, it was, people wanted to know, and I asked today, how many less? Okay? I said, how many less? No one would answer it. I said, can we get that number? Can we get that number? I asked today. Somebody said, I'll find out. I will find out. Now this is another, funny thing. Handicap spaces. Can you have handicap spaces in diagonal parking? Okay, are there any handicap spaces in diagonal parking? Yes. Okay, can you have them in parallel parking? Okay. All right, well, at any rate, the bike lanes. People will be ready. Tomatoes, rocks. Will they be throwing them about that, whether they're on the inside or the outside? Okay? Yep. So anyways, there will be changes. People don't like change. But there will be a few less. But remember, walking is the #1 exercise in America, and it's good for you. Obesity is the #1 problem in America. I'd just like to put a pitch in for that. I also thought of, on a humorous note, of, putting a little sign up for how many calories one would burn by, walking uphill from the parking garage. I myself have gained well over 10 pounds being in the mayor's office, sitting in front of a computer as opposed to walking twice a day, which I used to do. But anyways, too much about me.
Thank you. I'm going to move to Councilor Bullock, if that's okay. And having walkable downtowns actually generates more business when people are not parking in front of where they're going. There's a lot of studies on that, so for what that's worth. Councilor Bullock.
Yep. Okay. So I have a few questions to back us up. I think I have 4 questions. I'm going to ask you 2 just to start us off. But the first is, Mayor, do we need more parking?
No.
Okay. Do we need more housing?
We most assuredly need more housing, and we need more people.
Okay. So while I mean, you know, I'm one of the people who put in a records request for specific breakdown of revenue from 2019 to 2025. So I obviously care about the revenue, but I want to just appreciate you for starting the conversation, I believe, with saying that we desperately need housing. I read an article this week about how desperate the housing crisis was, that in some school districts across the country, they were opening lots in public school lots for overnight parking so that families could sleep overnight in their cars in front of the schools to increase attendance. And having worked closely with DCF in our region, I just thought how not far-fetched that would be for our county potentially. And my other question for you is, what are our options, or do you know what our options are if we don't like any of the responses we get in the RFP?
Not to choose any of them.
Thanks. That's helpful. And then last, you know, as I said, I requested the information, and I kind of thought that we couldn't get those breakdowns. But what I did remember was that when I joined the council, there was a lot of conversation about easing enforcement, parking enforcement, because businesses were opening back up from COVID at the time. And there was also obviously, and you know, people, the whole time I've been paying attention to parking, which is really only 4 years that I didn't think about parking much before I was on council. But most of the time people have been complaining about paying for parking. And so it's interesting now that we are so excited about the potential revenue of a parking lot. But there's basically, I'm wondering if you had to estimate sort of what the factors were in that reduction. What I gleaned from looking at the budget books from 2018 forward was one of the things we're looking at when we see that number go from 600,000 and drop, is that there, you know, you're estimating revenue in future years. And then the other things that I could see clearly, especially from 2019 forward, was that there would be COVID was obviously a reduction in use of parking, that there was a reduction of full-time employees within the parking unit, that we, as you said, we stopped charging for parking on weekends, and that we actively eased enforcement of violations. And so I'm wondering if you feel like any of that is the context around why we saw a revenue drop, and if there's anything else that you think you would add to the list in terms of context for why we saw a significant revenue drop from 2019 to 2024.
Well, I think the biggest reason for the revenue drop was singly eliminating Saturday parking. That's where you got most of your parking revenue was Saturdays. And at the time, also Wilson's was open. So
Oh, right, Wilson's.
Wilson's
That's a
was
great
open and
position.
Saturday parking. And I will tell
Yeah.
you something, people hate parking tickets. People really hate parking tickets. They don't mind. They don't complain about their fees as much. Like, if you're doing a building project, you're excited that you're able to, I don't know, this is how I feel. I'm sure everybody doesn't feel the same as I do. But if you're lucky enough to be putting like an addition on your house, you know, you have some extras, so you're able to do that. You know, there's something that goes along with that. You're putting an addition on, so you know you're going to get a building permit. We've gone up on some of those fees. We have not gone down on our local receipts because some of those things have increased. Meals, you know, meals and hotels have increased, but parking's gone down, and I would not for a nanosecond think of going back to putting Saturday parking on, or, but I would say that, to answer your question, the reason why it's decreased would be Saturday parking.
Thank you. That's helpful.
All right, Councilor Toronto?
Yeah, I wasn't really going to say anything, but thank you, Councilor Perry, for kind of requesting that I would say something about revenue bonds. I have not said anything about revenue bonds. I do not want to talk about that issue, but I do appreciate you understanding that I could give something to say about that. I'm not a part of that conversation when it comes to the parking lot at all. But I was actually going to say something that Councilor Bullock just said as well, is though I agree with you, Mayor, that obviously getting rid of Saturday decreased a bunch of the revenue. For that, there is a significant decrease in the amount of parking enforcement than there was even a few years back when we had, I think we have just one part-timer right now doing it?
We actually just added another
Another
person.
part-timer. We used to have like a full time and a half for almost 2 full times, I think, at some point in time. There was always somebody walking around. And I know nobody likes tickets. I've advocated for there to actually be more parking enforcement. People will hate me for that, I don't care. Not necessarily on the meter part, but on the dangerous parking areas, the corners, the Chapman Street no parking, where now a tractor trailer or a truck with a trailer can't get down there. I would like to see that more enforced. Right out in front of Denny's, just if anybody from the DPW is listening, across from Denny's, that is a terrible intersection on the weekends, trying to turn down Wildwood Ave. There is a no parking here to corner, but it's facing Denny's. It doesn't face it, so when you're pulling up, 9 times out of 10, it's a car from out of state that's pulling up there. Now they're parked 10 feet from the intersection, which is already a terrible intersection because you've got a utility pole on the other corner. That's just as an example, but like Chapman Street, Wells Street, all of those side streets that are already narrow enough, that was what I would like to see more enforcement of with those kind of fines, a little bit different from the meter fines that are already given out. Because I think it makes more of a dangerous intersection, not only, like I said, for vehicles trying to travel down it, but for pedestrians. It makes blind spots everywhere. But I think that would be a way to bring back some of that revenue as well, because I know that we talked about this at some point in the 4 years on Ways and Means, about it didn't really seem, I get why there was some relaxing on it, but if we had somebody full-time, the amount of revenue that was generated paid for their position and then some. So it wasn't like we were losing money by having somebody on that position. So it was just kind of, I never really got a good answer as to why, other than trying to, I don't know, be nicer to folks and relax some of the enforcement, why we stopped that. We have rules, and if you're not doing it, then you end up getting a ticket. It's kind of on you, right? I mean.
So, Councilor Torenzo, thank you for saying that. We actually heard what you said about that, and we added a second person to parking because the person that we had is a walker. That's what he does exclusively. So he was always just doing the downtown, and the new person that we added drives. So the chief had talked about that, so I wrote down Denny's. He's doing he will, and I wrote that down, and if anybody has any, just drop me notes. We have loads of people who have suggestions. I write them down, and we actually get right on them, whatever they are. The person will be out there looking at that one in particular, and if anybody else has any suggestions. They also will be ticketing for people who don't shovel sidewalks, so, which is one of my pet peeves, because then people who have, that are mobility impaired, have difficulty, and that's a lot of times oftentimes they are rental properties, and that's a real problem. So if you just drop a note to the mayor's office, and we'll make sure that somebody gets out there. So,
If I could just note, and I also understand that some of this has to come into being on the budget committee, where the way that the budgets have worked out, and so sometimes you got to do with what you got to do with, but I think that this would be a great example of where, of an understanding of how cutting off your face to spite your nose is not necessarily good practice when people are thinking about what the budgetary processes are going to be in the future, because cutting from a department for certain reasons when they could be for the wrong reasons, and it can have a trickle-down effect onto things that you may not have thought of. So it's food for thought as we're going to be starting the new budget cycle that I won't be involved in this year, which is great. But
there you go.
yes.
Also, many of the kiosks are broken, and they are all going to be replaced. I think that's going to be coming out of the parking benefit, but I'm not exactly sure. And they won't just be paid for with, I don't think they're just going to be using the app, because that wasn't friendly for all generations. I think they're going to be able to be paid by a couple of different modalities, so that it's more user-friendly to those who don't love apps as much as, just everybody doesn't love apps. We'll just put it that way. Some people like to pay with different things.
I love it, diversity. In our
Diversity.
apps, or not apps.
If I went for a walk with seniors, and they said that some of them would like to pay with, credit cards instead of apps.
Or maybe
Or
actually,
coins even, like an old-fashioned thing like a coin, right? How about that?
who has that? Counselor Golub.
Councilor Perry's question about market rate housing just prompted me to want to make sure we have shared language, and I wanted to just share a thought, and you'll know what I mean once I say it. Ask you if there's anything that you would like to add to it. Today in the paper there was a My Turn claiming a couple of things that I don't think are completely accurate and maybe misleading. The city was accused of a bait and switch, from switching from affordable to market rate. And I think a couple of definitions are important. First of all, that what we voted on and what the city requested was that we declare the land surplus and that we enter a request for proposals process. There was nothing in what we voted on that declared that we were doing any type of specific housing. So there was no bait and switch. That's one thing I want to just hear if you have any additional thoughts on. But two before that, one is that in the sentences before that, it said the city is now talking about market rate housing defined as top of market housing that 93% of our households could not afford. Just so everyone is clear, market rate, this is Wikipedia's definition, the market rate for goods and services is the usual price charged for them in a free market. So if a landlord charges a certain amount and the renters pay it, that is market rate. And affordable housing, there's various definitions, but one is below the median in a certain area, and the other is another is a 30% of someone's income or less that would be going to housing. And I want to say that what is going on, what the council voted on was to put out a request for proposal and see what the market will bring back. And see what developers are able to propose to us. And that is, we're listening to the market, and I hear what you're saying is that you're wanting the housing there to be market rate as defined by the general definition that we typically use, not by the definition that was in the My Turn today. So I just want to ask if you have any additional thoughts that you would say to that.
Thank you, Councilor Golub. Yes, I've been actually coming to city council meetings for a long time, and when these votes come up, what you are actually doing as a city council is you are voting to allow the mayor to sell the property, and then you put the property out to bid. And that property we will put out to bid to sell, we will put out an RFP. That is exactly what is going to happen. we came forward and we spent a long time discussing with people about what we intend to put in an RFP. We actually had a sample out here. We intend to have this in it. It will have several things, and then we will see what people come in with their proposals. People actually asked for pictures to be drawn, and I thought, I'm not going to draw a picture because I do not know what builders would come in with their ideas. But what you actually voted on was to allow the mayor that you voted, that you elected to sell this property and to put something in that neighborhood that hopefully most of the people in the neighborhood would be happy with. Thank you for the question.
Do we have another one? Councilor Toronto and I have a question too.
Just a kind of a general question. I've been asked this multiple times, and I didn't really know how to answer it. If we voted to declare it surplus property, to allow the mayor to sell the property, why not just sell the property? What's the point of having an RFP? Why not just sell it? I mean, do we have an RFP that is scheduled? I know we're looking at declaring Green River School property. Is that going to have an RFP attached to it too, or are we just selling it? Why don't we just sell it and let the person who buys it develop it, how they want to develop it? It just seems like a very weird thing to a lot of folks to have a contingency based upon the sale of the property instead of selling the property.
Well, I think some of that I would say is probably done with care and concern about the neighborhood. Maybe we could have an amusement park or the casino. We could probably put, I don't know how the neighbors up in Precinct 7 would feel if I sold it to the developer and said, how about we have a casino up there? You put out an RFP because you have some guidelines of what your intent is. So you've got some guidelines in there of what you are requesting that you would like there. So this is a commercial, it's the central commercial district, so you know what things fit in there, and you're adding the guidelines to what you would like in there. We've done this before also for the bank downtown, and we put in ideas for what we would like, and we've looked at it, we've rewritten the proposals for there. So you do it with good intention for the city that you are governing, because you are looking to the future of this. And I do see, this is, I can see as I'm sitting around here looking at this, that I know that I'm not making every counselor at this table happy, and I understand that. But I don't think that I would be making every counselor at this table happy either if I put out an RFP for a small amusement park on the Hope Street lot. Or a casino, a small casino. So it would have to be something that was allowed by right, or that was allowed, but you put out a request for proposal, and there are certain things that are allowed in certain zones, and you do it with an intention, and there are reasons why we do certain things.
Well, that was the reason why I asked, is that's the questions that I've been asked by some folks is, well, isn't that the point of why we have zoning laws? And accepted uses already? So then why would we need to restrict that further is what I've been asked. And I was like, I don't really know how to answer that question, other than what you started out with was, it's in, it's what is seen as being in, at the time, considered the best interest, right? But I've had people bring up to me kind of the overlay of French King, right? That was all done with what was thought at the time as the best interest of the use of that land, or how it could be sold. We rezoned it at some point because we thought, well, it wasn't working that way. We're going to rezone it, and maybe it'll get a use of the land after that. Well, so far, I mean, it's been a short time, but that hasn't worked either. So those are kind of the questions that have been bounced around with folks that I've talked to, is, well, they essentially are saying, why not let the market make the decision rather than, and because we already do have our zoning laws, we have the buy rights, we have those kind of limitations, if you will, are already put in place. So, I mean, I guess maybe these people are a little bit more free market when they're asking me that. And that's why I didn't have a clear question on what, I guess, the city's response was to that. So I'm glad that you were able to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Counselor Bullock, and then I'm going to go back to Counselor Golub. Oh, we're going to go to Counselor Williams first because she hasn't had a chance to speak.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor. So let's talk about money a little. You said that fiscal year '25, $322,604 was the total income from parking, correct? Okay. And that the meters were $250,000 of that? 250,000? Is that what you said? That was the income from the meters?
The meters were about 240, 242, yeah.
Okay. So that means I had 250, so I'm going to go with 250 for now.
That's perfect.
Because I did the math. That means that's $72,604 was from all other sources of parking in the city? So
No.
the lots, all the other lots, is that correct?
No,
No, okay.
no, from all parking, meters and lots, 242,000. And then $80,000 came from the things that people hang.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Is that everything? I just want to make sure. Okay, great. So Counselor Bullock?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of changed my mind, but I think Patty's question made me think of, Mayor, regardless of the revenue, do you feel like it's more important that everyone in Greenfield who wants a home has one than it is for us to have another parking lot?
Yes, I think one of the biggest needs in this city and in the state and the nation, I think, is housing. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
just
it's
went
just
to, this weekend I went to, my grandchildren had a track meet in Sarasota, and they have a beautiful downtown. And they had all kinds of things going down. My leg was actually bothering me. There was no parking. And they had all kinds of stuff downtown. And there wasn't any parking. My son had to drop me off, but they had all kinds of people there. And it was about 2.5 hours away from home. It was a very vibrant downtown, all kinds of restaurants. And people were driving around there, 2 little parking lots that were smaller than all of our parking. I drove halfway home and had to go to the bathroom halfway home. And I go into a new Dunkin' Donuts and the door's locked. I go over to the Dollar General store and I ask them, do you have a bathroom? And the ladies, they're outside actually having a cigarette, and they said to me, well, we do have a bathroom. It's in aisle 18, and they're like, you can use it. It says don't enter, but you can go in. So I came out and I thanked them for their humanity. And they said, we have a new Dunkin' Donuts, but we can't find anybody to work here. And I thought, yeah, we have that problem too. We have restaurants that used to be open, more hours. We have restaurants that can't find help, and we don't have enough people to fill the slots. We need more people here. So I know that we need more housing, and we definitely don't need more parking. So, yep. And I heard that at the GBA meeting, that's for sure. So anyways, that's all I have to say on that. And thank you for those nice people at Dollar General.
All right. I'm going to go to Counselor Golub and then Counselor Perry, and then I think we're going to wrap this up because we've got a debate coming up in 2 weeks, so we can let them debate it out there if that's okay.
I may be hounding a point too much, but I didn't realize that there was such a question about why we go for requests for proposals, and I just wanted to clarify that a little bit. The idea of just selling the lot, I don't even know how that would happen without looking to the market for proposals. The mayor cannot just legally select the person to whom she wants to sell the lot. I imagine that we are legally obligated to request proposals in order to ensure that the community, that the city receives the best proposals possible. Could you legally just choose the person to whom you wanted to sell the lot?
No, you cannot, but there are different ways that you can sell things. You can auction things, but there are different ways that you can do things, but you can't just say, somebody could come up to you and say, oh, I'll buy that lot for such and such. You have to do things according to procurement laws. But and Councilor Torenzo, or many of you could say, many of you could have a lot of knowledge of that. But in a city, you elect people who are looking out for the city's future. And you may not like every decision that I make, and that's okay. But I'm trying to make decisions that are good for the city. And I would assume that most of you would probably not like an amusement park on that lot, or a casino. I don't know about that. But some of you, I can tell, would definitely like a parking lot. And most of you would probably like housing. And some of you would like commercial on the bottom with housing on the top. I'm trying to make a good decision, and an RFP process is the way that we will go, so that we will get bids and that it will be appropriate and legal. And, and then, people came forward in a proper manner so that it will go to a vote, and Clerk Scott handled that very appropriately. We're going the right way legally, and it will go to a vote. And then we will put it out for the proper procurement way, and we will have it go out to bid, and then we will set it up properly.
And so rather than going to an auction and the highest bidder, you are deliberately choosing a process through which the public can participate over the course of time as we discern who the best company to develop this land will be, correct?
Correct, because that makes a little bit of control over what could be there, because, and I don't have my zoning book in front of me, although I was on planning book for 6 years, because if we just put it out that way, that casino could be right around the corner from us.
Counselor Perry?
Tell you that I don't mind the slot machines myself, but I'm not sure that would be the best thing in the neighborhood.
Hi,
How many
Mayor.
licenses are in this state?
Yeah, Mayor, I just want to say, I'm a happy-going-lucky guy. Just ask my dog, I'm a happy guy. This is not about me. It's not about anybody in the council. It's about the residents and the citizens. They want to be informed. They want to know what they're voting for. They want to hear straight information. And people who I keep hearing the same stuff. Lazy people, fat people, don't want to walk, all this kind of stuff. I'm sure if we took a poll, 98.5 of the people in Greenfield will say, yes, we want housing. It's not an either-or proposition. People just want to know what they're voting for, they want to hear specifics, and they want to be respected, and let them make the decision. And so all this stuff we've been talking about, it just, kids sleeping in cars, come on. The sidewalks, you mentioned sidewalks. Well, sidewalks is important for everybody. Some people cannot walk up hills. That's just a fact of life. And so we don't have to belittle them to try to make our point that we need housing. Of course we need housing. Everybody knows that. Everybody accepts that. It's a different conversation. So I would just ask people in these last 2 weeks to respect everybody and let the people decide and not worry about this or that. And tonight's the first time I heard about casinos or anything else going in there. So you can be kind of flippant if you want, but that's just going to torque off people out there who want serious answers about a serious issue for the city, for people in that neighborhood, for people who work there, for people who experienced whatever they've experienced, and for the people who want housing to make sure that they know what they're voting for, which is why I asked that question about market housing. Because you keep telling me, oh, we're voting for low-income housing. No, that's not what you're doing. So make sure people know what they're voting for or against. Thank you.
Point of order, Madam President. I think it would be really helpful, the way our process is supposed to be set up, since we spent, I don't know how long on this discussion, to submit questions, which no one ever does. And it's great that we have this back and forth. I think it's needed, but we're asking very specific questions, and we're questioning the mayor's integrity, other people's integrity. Counselors can put these questions in writing before the meeting so that the mayor can answer the questions and the research can be done. That's the way it's supposed to. I know we don't like to do that, but instead we have this big grandstanding thing where we go back and forth and back and forth. I just don't think it's the most productive way to do it when you want direct, specific, transparent information on data. Then you should ask the question, and it should be in writing so that they have time to look at it, and then it's really transparent, instead of hitting people up with these questions at the meeting with no notice.
Thank you, Councilor Bottomley. And it's a good reminder that we all talked about this in July and voted 10-1 on it. So we've hashed through a lot of this already, so I appreciate that. I do have one question that has nothing to do with parking. I got a notice that we were awarded a Community One Stop Award, which will help with our vacant downtown spaces. And if you all wanted to just tell us what that is, if you know, but otherwise we can have it come back to the council next time, because I thought that's really exciting.
I'm looking it up. I haven't. I wasn't prepared.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
My brain is not there yet.
I'm drawing I'm needing a moment on that.
That's okay.
It's
We
not
can come
coming
back
the
to
top-
it.
It's not coming to the front of the brain right now. Oh, the vacant storefront, $50,000 vacant storefront. Thank God for these little computers. President Wondolowski, $50,000 vacant storefront program award to provide municipal incentive to encourage commercial tenants to fill qualifying vacant storefronts. $30,000 Downtown Initiative Award to develop a model of using public art to address downtown wayfinding needs. Thank you, Erin Ian Holt, and the computer. Thank you.
Okay. We'll come back to this because I think this is a great opportunity, and it's part of this discussion about our downtown and what we want to see in it and filling those storefronts. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. And we'll do this as the debate, y'all. So come to the debate. Thank you. I appreciate that. Great. All right. Thank you, as always, for being here. And that is concluding our city employees portion of the meeting, and we're going to go to public comment. Okay. Okay. So first up, I have Max Webb.
Hi, my name is Max Webb. I live in Precinct 9, and my name will be on this year's ballot for the Precinct 9 City Council seat. To not bury the lead, this is just about rats. This isn't anything else. In early spring of this year, I founded the Greenfield Trash Pickup Club. We have held weekly trash pickups around town using the blue bags provided by DPW and collected over 70 bags of trash on public land. We have partnered with the Connecticut River Conservancy, Green River Cleanup, and Ad Hoc Unhoused Committee to host encampment cleanups to our unhoused population. After the election, we will be working with the DPW to set up regular curbside trash pickup at the encampment sites. I am also working on a litter campaign with the Greenfield Business Association that will inspire pride of place and hopefully engage the youth and greater community to promote proper trash disposal downtown. As we have collected trash, we have kept data on what we find and where, and hope to use this to identify ideal locations for receptacles and streamline DPW's work when collecting waste along our streets. Lastly, and most importantly to the conversations that have been at hand, we have partnered with Mass Audubon to bring awareness to the harm that rodenticides, specifically second-generation anticoagulants, cause our wildlife, and how they are an ineffective long-term solution to our rat problem. eSCARs do not kill rats right away. Instead, it builds up in their system over time, and they are often found dead by predators, eaten, and then those predators, owls, foxes, eagles, to name a few, are poisoned as a result. eSCARs perpetuate the problem by killing our silent partners in rat control. It is my goal to collaborate with the High School Sustainability Club in developing IPM plans so that school composting can continue and students themselves can learn how to create a sustainable environment for their future. I wholeheartedly love what is being done at the transfer station in regards, and I support it closing so they can continue to keep cleaning and do their own IPM plans. Feel free to reach out to me via email if you'd like more info or to get involved, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Ryan online.
Hi, it's Ryan Whitney, Chapman Street, Greenfield, Massachusetts. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, we can.
I hope you can hear me. All right, good. I'm just using a different mic, so I didn't know. I had sent you guys all an email about transparency and the way our meetings operate. I think a lot of you have gotten that email, and a lot of you responded back to me. And a perfect example tonight I seen was when John was talking about how you guys submit questions and whatnot, and how that doesn't operate. I think with just, I don't think it's done on purpose, but it's really frustrating for somebody with disabilities that can't attend the meetings in person, that a lot of these things, microphones not working and stuff, and I stated a lot of this in my email. Like, a lot of microphones aren't working. Like, you can't hear it that much during the historical commission meeting. I think they only have like one microphone, and it doesn't pick up like the whole room properly. So you can barely make out what people are saying. That's very hard for me. And then like open meeting law stuff, like even Laura, like changing like what's on the agenda, it might not seem like a big thing because you're having coffee and we should put that on there, but this is our government, and I'd like to see it ran as a government, not like a social club or something like that. Like, even the time wasted on a ballot measure question that's going on, it sounded more like a campaign meeting right now than a city council meeting. I never hear about like anything else in the last like 6 months except for about housing in every single meeting. I go to homeless commission, housing. I go to economic development, housing. But then there's no other conversations going on so much. I go to all these meetings, and it's very sad to see like us hyper focus on one thing, and just would like to like get back to business almost, and not all this like weird stuff we got going on now. And just please pay attention to transparency stuff, and that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. I've got Stephanie Vassar.
Hey, I'm Stephanie Vassar. I'm from Shelburne, Massachusetts. I just wanted to come and talk to you guys about what is further on your agenda, addressing zoning changes to adding animal clinics and hospitals and how they are listed in Greenfield. I've been working for over a year trying to find a space in Greenfield to start a small animal urgent care clinic. And bringing that in. I've been working on moving into a space that has been vacant at Cherry Run Plaza for over 10 years. And the way that the zoning definitions right now do not allow veterinary hospitals or clinics in limited commercial, which is that area. The definition change will allow that, and it has worked through the Economic Development Committee yesterday, and with the Planning Board, I worked with them starting in June or July on this. And hopefully we can make it go through so that we can get this open for everybody and service our region and give us a much needed service. All of the veterinary clinics that I've reached out to, because I know that all of this is transparent, they're very collaborative and excited about it. And this will be a non-corporate option to be able to support our pet owners in this area and also be able to have more employment opportunities. So thank you guys for your time, and have a great night.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And then I've got Ramona LaTronca online.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, wonderful. Hi, my name's Ramona LaTronica. I live in Precinct 5, and I wanted to just jump on and talk a little bit about the Hope Street lot. I live about a block away from the lot, so it's right in my neighborhood, and it's a super important issue to me, and I will be voting no on the issue. And I am a renter here in Greenfield. Buying a house is not really an option right now, unfortunately, and housing is just such a big issue for us in this country and in this town and in this community. And I think it's really important that we continue to fight the fight to get more housing. And I just wanted to jump on and say a little bit about what a no vote means versus a yes vote means. And I think a lot of information I'm hearing is people saying, I vote yes, we get a parking lot back. But what I'm hearing from the mayor and from other representatives is that doesn't necessarily mean we're getting a parking lot back. And so what it does mean is that we continue to have a vacant lot here at Hope Street until something else can be decided. So we go back to the drawing board, and it's another year of a vacant lot, another year without anything there. And I think that a no vote allowing a developer to create housing that really works for Greenfield is a more important choice for us. And so that's why I will be voting no. And I urge a lot of people, both in my precinct, in my community, and in the Greenfield area as a whole, to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. And that, I think, concludes our public comment. So thank you, everybody. Public hearing and second readings, we don't have any on the agenda for tonight, so we're going to go to motions, orders, and resolutions. So our first is the local general election warrant. And can I have somebody read that for me? It's on page 21. Oh, and you also have to read the warrant on page 22 and 23 as well.
I can do it.
Thank you.
Order number FY 26-047. The City Council moved that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council hereby approves the attached local general election warrant for November 4th, 2025, and further authorize the City Council President to sign said warrant on behalf of the City Council. Majority vote required. Should I continue on and then we
I'll
do?
second.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
City biannual election warrant, City of Greenfield, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Franklin, SS. To either of the constables of the City of Greenfield, County of Franklin, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of said city who are qualified to vote in elections to meet at the polling places designated for the several precincts in said city as follows. Precinct 1 through 9, Greenfield High School Gymnasium, 21 Bar Avenue. On Tuesday, the 4th day of November 2025, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the following purpose. To choose by ballot the following city office. 2 city councilors at large, 4-year term. 1 city councilor, precinct 5, 4-year term. 1 city councilor, precinct 6, 4-year term. One city councilor, Precinct 7, 4-year term. One city councilor, Precinct 8, 4-year term. One city councilor, Precinct 9, 4-year term. 3 school committee members, 4-year term. 1 school committee member, 2-year term. 2 assessors, 4-year term. 3 trustees of A.K. Warner Fund, 2-year term. 1 elector under will of Oliver Smith, 2-year term. 3 trustees of Janine L. Bascom Education Fund, 2-year term. Ballot question. Shall a citizen's referendum petition that proposes to rescind the following city council measure approved in July 16, 2025 take effect? That the Greenfield City Council authorizes the mayor to sell 53 Hope Street, Assessor's Map 52, Lot 25, pursuant to the city council policy for the sale of city-owned land, and authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accomplish the same. Yes. Summary. A yes vote will rescind the city council measure authorizing the sale. No. Summary. A no vote will uphold the city council measure authorizing the sale. Given under our hands this 15th day of October 2025, Laura Wondolowski, City Council President, a true copy, attest, Catherine J. Scott, CMC, Greenfield City Clerk, date of posting, Constable.
Thank you. You must be fun in history class.
At least I think so. I can't vouch for the students.
Any comments or questions? All right, I'm going to go to Clerk Scott.
If anybody is interested in receiving a ballot by mail, a vote by mail, applications are online on our website. They're available in our office, and you can call the clerk's office and we will mail you an application.
Clerk Scott, while I have you, when's the last day to register to vote for the upcoming election? Have I missed it?
You have not missed it. Let me pull up my calendar.
Not that I'm not registered.
The last day to register to vote or change your party, which doesn't apply here because it's a nonpartisan election, is Friday, October 24th. It has to be into the clerk's office by 5 p.m. on that day.
And if I wanted to vote absentee because I'm traveling somewhere crazy, how would I do that, and when can I do that?
Wonderful question, President Wondolowski. You can vote in the city clerk's office, absentee, up until noon the day before the election. But for absentee voting, you do need to qualify for that. So that means you are unavailable to go to the polls on election day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. if you're traveling, if you have surgery, if you are going to be with someone having surgery, that sort of thing, that would qualify you for that. There is an application form that needs to be filled out, but you can do that in our office, or you can fill it out and we can mail you one.
Thank you. It's a very easy peasy process. All right. Just want to make sure everybody knows because our turnout on off-year elections is, I don't know, 2% or something crazy like that. So the more folks who know how to vote, the more we can get people to vote. So let's take a roll call on having the warrant approved.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Mastrotaro,
Yes.
Counselor Bottomley,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.
Counselor Healy,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Toronzo,
Yep.
and does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're at mayor's appointments. So I'm going to go to Councilor Golub.
Order number fiscal year 26045. The City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council pursuant to Charter Section 210 affirms the following appointments by the mayor. Board of License Commissioners Emily Boldock, term to expire December 31st, 2028. Crossroads Cultural District Committee Caitlin Von Schmidt and Tess Perron Poe, both terms to expire December 31st, 2028. Greenfield Community Television Board of Directors, Sarah Bolduc, term to expire December 31st, 2028. Greenfield Local Cultural Council, Danielle Lucier, term to expire December 31st, 2028. Opioid Use and Prevention Commission, Pedro Alvarez, term to expire December 31st, 2028. Majority vote required.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
And there's not a report from the committee. We were unable to reach quorum. My car battery died on the way to the meeting. And we did everything possible, but we were not able to meet. So this is up to everyone.
Any questions? Yeah.
Somebody who's running for office is on two of these proposed. Oh, okay, one. So I'm just curious to know how that may or may not affect if that person were to be elected as a counselor. It's just a question. I just would like the answer if we have one. Would that person be removed from that commission, or?
It depends on the rules. I know that there are counselors who are currently on commissions, sitting counselors, so it's not a prohibition. I don't know if Counselor Golub, if you have any enlightenment on that, since you've been working on it.
It's more of a curiosity than anything else, so.
I'm on the tax fund, and I'm here, and there's been no hook around my neck yet, so I guess it's okay.
I did ask her at the last Precinct 7 neighborhood meeting. I said, "You sure you want to do all this stuff?" Because she's also on a couple other commissions, and she said, "Yep." So, she knows, she understands. I've warned her about time commitments, and she's a go-getter, so here we go.
Great, and she's not elected yet, so. All right, any other comments? Then we'll take a roll call.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Mastricataro, Counselor Bottomley,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.
Counselor Healy,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Toronzo.
Yep.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, back to you, Counselor Golub.
Sure. Order number fiscal year 26048. The City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council rescinds the affirmation for the appointment of Hannah Reschoffen to the Greenfield Local Cultural Council voted during the City Council meeting held on September 17th, 2025. Majority vote required.
Second.
And the rationale for this was that the appointment came through, there's two committees that are very similar in name and purpose, and the appointment that came through to us was for the wrong one. We approved it, and then the city is asking us to rescind that one and to appoint Hannah to the correct committee.
Okay, that seems to make sense. All right,
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Mastricataro, Counselor Bottomley,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.
Counselor Healy,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Toronzo.
Yep.
Does the president wish to vote?
yes, and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
All right, we're in a rescinding sort of mood tonight, so we're going to go to the,
Not yet.
Oh.
Same page.
same page, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sure. Order number fiscal year 26049, the City Council moved that it be ordered excuse me, that the Greenfield City Council pursuant to Charter Section 210 affirms the following appointment by the mayor to the Crossroads Cultural District Committee, Hannah Rushkoffen, for term to expire December 31st, 2028, majority vote required.
Second.
All right, let's move to vote.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Master Tataro,
Yes.
Counselor Bottomley,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.
Counselor Healy,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Toronzo.
Yep.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
All right, now we'll go to Counselor Healy with the rescission, is that the right word? Of the conservation restriction.
Sure. This is order number FY 26-050. The city council moved that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council rescind the following order voted during the city council meeting held on June 18, 2025. Order number FY 25-104 on June 18, 2025, the Greenfield City Council, on a motion by Councilor Bullock, second by Councilor Gordon, it was unanimously voted that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council approve the conservation restriction to the Francis K. Princey Stotts individually and as trustee of the Douglas G. Stotts and Francis K. Stotts Living Trust, CO Douglas G. Stotts, 54 Factory Hollow Road, Greenfield, Mass. 01301, pursuant to the section 32 of Chapter 184 of the General Laws of Massachusetts, on a parcel of land currently owned by Francis K. Princey Stott individually and as a trustee of the Douglas K. Stotts and Francis K. Stotts Living Trust, to be transferred to the Franklin Land Trust and partially located in the city of Greenfield, Franklin County, Massachusetts, constituting approximately 25 acres. As described in Exhibit A, a description of the premises, and Exhibit B, a reduced copy of plan of premises, and further authorizes the city council president to sign on behalf of the city council.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I didn't have this brought to EDC because it was basically just some housekeeping. So as they went to go further move on with this agreement, there was some scribe error and some boundary errors that they had to correct in the agreement. So they had asked us to withdraw this agreement and then vote on a new written agreement.
All right, makes sense. Appreciate the rationale. Any questions, anyone? All right, let's go ahead.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Master Tataro,
Yes.
Counselor Bottomley,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.
Counselor Healy,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Toronzo.
Abstain.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
All right, so now we're going to the corrected version.
Correct. Yeah, this is order number FY 26-051. City council move that be ordered. The Greenfield City Council approved the conservation restriction granted by Francis K. Princey Stotts individually and as trustee of the Stotts Realty Trust, CO Douglas G. Stotts, 54 Factory Hollow Road, Greenfield, Mass. 01301, pursuant to Section 32 of Chapter 184 of the General Laws of Massachusetts, on real property currently owned by Francis K. Princey Stott individually and as a trustee of the Stotts Realty Trust, to be conveyed to the Franklin Land Trust, Inc., and partially located in the city of Greenfield, Franklin County, Massachusetts, constituting 26 9/10 acres, as described in Exhibit A, description of the premise, and Exhibit B, reduced copy of recorded plan of premises, and further authorizes the city council president to sign on behalf of the city council.
Second.
All right, so this is obviously just the corrected version of the previous order, and not much more to say about it. Thank you.
All right, let's move forward with a vote.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Mastrich-Taro?
Yes.
Counselor Bottomley?
Your mic's
Yes.
not on.
Sorry, should I start over?
If you could for the public, thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Golub? Sorry, starting over because my microphone was not on,
Oh,
so
sure. Yeah.
people possibly couldn't hear.
Okay. Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Mastrich-Taro?
Yes.
Counselor Bottomley?
Yes.
Counselor Bullock?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Perry?
Yes.
Counselor Healy?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yes.
Counselor Toronzo?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
All right, so last one for tonight is the zoning ordinance. Counselor Healy?
Yes, so, order number FY 26-030. The city council moved that it be ordered that the city council of Greenfield amend the zoning ordinance, chapter 200, article 2, definitions, sections 200-3, terms and words, paragraph B, animal kennel or hospital, by adding language in bold and by deleting language in strike through as follows and attached exhibit A, and further amends the table of contents and index of the code, and further that the non-substantive changes to the numbering of the ordinance be permitted in the order that it be in compliance with the numbering format of the code of the city of Greenfield.
Second.
Thank you. So this one's going to be a little bit of a loaded topic, but it went to EDC and Planning Board in a joint meeting back, I think it was in July or August, and it bounced around. It was tabled at that meeting by the EDC. Last night at the EDC meeting, we brought it back from the table and we amended it based on some conversations we had at the EDC meeting. So I'll take, I guess, any questions on that, and then I would, amend this after.
I just had a question because I see the definition in here, and was there a separate definition for animal hospitals, and this is making clinics separate, or?
Yes, that's a great question. So there was a previous Appendix A, which had struck out the words animal kennel hospital based on Ollie's law. There was a suggestion that we couldn't have zoning restrictions on animal kennels based on a new Massachusetts law. After further clarification, we said we could still have zoning restrictions on animal clinics, so we found it best to leave animal kennels or hospitals in our zoning bylaws with restrictions, and amend this to have just the animal medical center clinic wording in there as a separate entity. So I could unfortunately, the old language isn't in the packet. I do have it in front of me.
Other questions? I see Counselor Golub.
So just to be clear, the language that's on page 87, is that what we're voting on, or is a motion to amend coming forward?
A motion to amend is going to come forward. So the information on page 87 is the correct language, but we amended it a bit further last night. So I guess I'll make a motion to amend.
That's what I was going to ask next. Great.
Okay.
Second.
That was Counselor Bullock with a second, or Counselor Gordon? Can you state the amendment before we get the second? Because I don't know what they're seconding.
Yeah, so the amendment would basically be the language on page 87 in the packet. The only change there would be in the zoning table of uses, where animal medical center or clinic in the GI district would be by special permit.
So you're
Second.
so you're amending it to change from yes and GI to SP.
Yep.
Thank you. Are there questions, comments, maybe just a little rationale of why the switch in GI?
Yeah, so the rationale in the GI district was, you know, there's the GI district abuts a lot of, some of the GI district abuts a lot of the residential districts, and since it's by special permit residential, and general industry should really be reserved for industrial uses. We didn't feel like this was a good fit for like an industrial use, whereas we felt like it would fit more into the commercial office districts or general commercial. So, you know, we decided to do that by special permit. And I apologize, I'm losing my voice.
Any other questions or comments? So GI is general industry, just to make sure everybody heard that. So our vote right now will be on the amendment first. All right.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Master Tataro,
Yes.
Counselor Bottomley,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.
Counselor Healy,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Toronzo.
Yep.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion to amend passes unanimously.
Okay, so on the floor is the amended motion. Any other conversation about that? I see none, so can we move to a vote, please?
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Master Tataro,
Yep.
Counselor Bottomley,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.
Counselor Healy,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Toronzo.
Yep.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. So now going back, we do not have a presentation of petitions and similar papers, reports of committees at the time of posting, no topics, unfinished business, nothing, there's always unfinished business, clear, but old business, nothing came up, so we have new business and notice of zoning amendment proposals. We can either have Counselor Healy, who's losing her voice, or if there's someone else on EDC who'd be willing to read this.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Page 89, for those.
I'll read it. Notice of zoning amendment proposals, October 15th, 2025. The following zoning amendment proposals have been submitted to the Greenfield City Council for consideration. Amend zoning ordinance section 200-56, accessory dwelling units, required revisions under the Affordable Homes Act signed by Governor Maura Healey relative to accessory dwelling units, 760 CMR 71.00, submitted October 6, 2025 by the Planning Board.
Thank you. Any motions for reconsideration? I will take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Are you have
I have
a
a
problem with
question.
adjourning?
Yes. I would just, I don't know if this, because this is the only time and space I would see where we could communicate to the general body public about an incident that had happened that is concerning a lot of the conversation that we had, and just a message that I had. I'm not sure where to stick that in. I don't know if that's possible.
Could we put that in our next council meeting? Because I feel like we're at the end, we've had a whole evening
It's
of
not like a debate
conversation.
thing.
What's that?
It's not like a debate thing. I'm not trying to make any sort of like grand gesture, but it does have to just do with the election that is coming up, and then it'll become kind of irrelevant after that.
I'm just trying to keep on topic, and we're going to be outside of open meeting law.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, people, just be nice to each other, that's all. We have an election coming up, and you might feel strongly about things, but just be kind, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Fine, this is good.
Roll call to adjourn.
Yep, roll call to adjourn.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Master Tataro?
You bet.
Counselor Bottomley?
Yes.
Counselor Bullock?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Perry?
Yes.
Counselor Healy?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhus?
Yes.
Counselor Toronzo?
Yep.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, let's stay all night. 8:16, and we're adjourned.